So you're looking for the coolest, biggest, most badass video about Tacoma, Washington in 2024. Oh, this isn't gonna be it. Let's be honest. This is a cost of living video. It is not the sexiest piece of content that I am gonna make this year by far. But this could be the video that helps you make the decision whether or not moving right here to Tacoma, Washington is the right move for you and your family. So if that is something you're interested in, just some cold hard facts, some deep knowledge on what it costs to live here, stick around because we're getting after it right now. All right, what's up guys? My name is Austin, AKA Austin of Tacoma, and I couldn't be more happy that you're here joining us right now. Just a quick reminder, Chris, myself, and our team, we get phone calls, texts, and emails every single day from people who are just like you that are trying to decide if they're gonna make their move out here to Tacoma, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're looking at making that move here in the next 3 days or even the next 3 months, shoot us that phone call, text, or an email. And if you know everything going on right here inside of our local market, just hit that little subscribe button and ding the bell. That way you never miss another video. So Tacoma, Washington is such a beautiful, magnificent city. There's so much to do. The outdoors is fantastic. And it is one of the most affordable cities on the West Coast. But does that mean that it's necessarily right for you? Well, that's what we're going to get into today. So our very first point, the very first thing we're going to talk about is the cost of housing here in Tacoma, Washington. Because if you're coming from California, New York, maybe Chicago, the cost of homes out here is really pretty awesome. But if you're coming from Kansas, Texas, maybe someplace like Alabama or Georgia, the West Coast can feel very, very overwhelming, especially with the recent increase in home prices over the past few years. Now, when I look at an average home here in Tacoma, and what I mean by the average home is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, somewhere around 2,000 square feet, all around the Tacoma area. That price comes in at about $550,000. But looking at different neighborhoods, it really kind of varies from there. So when I look at the north end of Tacoma, which is an area that I really personally enjoy, an average home there is going to be somewhere closer to about $800,000. So pretty pricey. And if you go South Tacoma, which is actually where we're filming this at in one of our offices here, it drops down to about $500,000. But then if you cruise around the other side and you hit the northeast side of Tacoma, or Browns Point, as most of us just call it here, that's going to be around $707,000. So wherever you decide you're going to buy at can really make a big determination on what the price point of that house is going to be. And again, this is why you got to reach out to us. You know, we know these neighborhoods inside and out, so we can definitely help you find the right place that fits your family's vibe, but also fits with inside of your budget. Now, going into 2024, there have been a couple of real estate trends that I think are going to help. One, rates have come out of that crazy 8%, high 7%. So that opens you up a little bit. But the other factor is that homes in Tacoma now are sitting anywhere between 18 and about 40 days before they're selling. So you're still not getting that really long, drawn out opportunity to sit on your hands and wait. But last year in 2023, when we talked about cost of living, man, it was like 7 to 10 days. You had to basically fly out here. And within the first week, we had to get you under contract or you were not going to get that house. So that trend is helping a little bit. And could it drop some of those prices for you? Maybe. That's something we might be able to see as the year goes on. But as of right now, the secondary trend we're seeing is that homes are still getting about 100% of what they're asking for. In fact, we're seeing a big decrease in the amount of homes that are having to have price cuts before they sell. We're pretty much back to what you consider a normal national trend of price cuts in homes. So kind of what people are asking for a house is about what they're getting. and it's sort of a broad range, so you can really make Tacoma affordable based on whatever your budget is. Let's talk about property taxes, because people, especially coming from Texas, this is something that they are super worried about. They have these really high property taxes, these crazy assessments for schools so that, they can build these NFL like football stadiums for their high school kids, right? So what do property taxes look like here in Tacoma? Well, Tacoma is a little bit less than the average property tax for Pierce County. That's the county that Tacoma is in. So on average, you can expect to see anywhere from like 0.97% on your property tax, all the way up to our highest zip code, which is 98446, that has an effective property tax rate of 1.23%. But on average, you're usually going to be about 1% for your property taxes. So if you're gonna buy yourself a $700,000 house, looking at kind of the average range around here, you could expect to pay somewhere between $6,900 and $7,000 a year for your property tax on that $700,000 house. And that is broken up for us. So we pay that in half portions twice a year, which makes it quite a bit easier to swallow than some of these places that have really high tax rates and they come at you right at the beginning of the year, right after the holidays, when you're, usually at your lowest point financially. A really cool point though about property tax here in Tacoma is the last year we had an assessed value increase of just under 20%. So properties really, really went up. But thanks to the way the last year has went with mortgage rates, the financial hardships people having, and all of those other factors that came into play, the assessed values actually went down by 2.8% this year, which is going to give you a little bit of cushion when it comes to actually paying for those property taxes. So I mentioned Texas. So if I look, for example, at a place like El Paso, Texas, a $400,000 home in El Paso, Texas is going to have about the same payment for the property tax as a $700,000 home here in Tacoma. What about utilities? Now look, when I relocated here from Missouri, knowing the West Coast is more expensive, I expect to just take a beating on my utilities. That said, it really wasn't the case. Looking at Tacoma Public Utilities, they say that the utilities run an average of about $130 a month, weighted around $200 in the winter months. Now, the reason there's this big kind of spread is we have such a temperate, mild climate throughout most of the year. So you really aren't running like heat or air conditioning the majority of the year. So during those winter months, you do end up cranking up that heat a little bit, which causes that rise. Now, in the Midwest, it was not uncommon to have $600 utility bills. So I have found since relocation, this has actually been a huge break for me and my family. Now, if you're somebody that's looking to improve the energy efficiency of your home, Tacoma Public Utilities actually has some incentives for you to make your costs just a little bit lower. Obviously, if you install any of the special equipment that they consider highly energy efficient, it does have to meet all the requirements for the rebates. It does have to meet all of the standards. So make sure you're checking into that on your own. That'll be through Tacoma Public Utilities. But things like extra insulation, things like heat pumps, duct sealing, and really high quality windows should all kind of fall inside of that category. So if you're wanting to save a little bit of money, smash some rebates in to lower your cost of living, that is one way you can do it. cost of our transportation. Now, obviously Tacoma is a city, but we're not a huge city. In fact, even in Seattle, you're still gonna want to own a car. Take that note again, we do have public transportation, but this isn't New York City. You're still going to want a car. And this is kind of where the cost of living turns into a negative for us. You see, Washington itself was ranked 49th out of 50 states as one of the worst places to own a vehicle. And this is a lot to do with the infrastructure, the mountains, the bad weather, and the drivers. Yeah, you really would think like with the hills and it being gray, rainy, all that a lot, that people would adjust and become better drivers. They don't. So if you move here, make sure you take it upon yourself to be a vigilant driver, drive defensively, and just watch out because people still aren't getting the memo. Me personally, I've had to replace a couple of windshields. I have popped tires with nails from construction sites. They run these big 2-wide dump trucks, and I can't tell you how many rocks I've had slung into the front of my car. I've done a lot of repairs, and even now there's just chipping along the bottom of my Challenger, which is super frustrating for me. But looking at this report from Bankrate, I guess I really shouldn't have been too surprised by it. Now, as far as getting an oil change on my car, I pay about $130. Now that is full synthetic. Elena, my wife, and I both use full synthetic, hers in her Audi, me in the Challenger. So I don't really know what like your general oil change is gonna be because I just haven't done that. I've always ran full synthetic in all of our vehicles. Now, as far as fuel goes, typical fuel right now is sitting somewhere between $3.30 and $3.50. If you're somebody that like me, their vehicles require premium, obviously you're gonna be paying more than that. I've been seeing between about $3.80 and $4 a gallon. Now this summer, we actually bumped up to being the most expensive state in the country for gas, and high fours were regular. But since then, we've kind of seen things level out, and we're back to those mid threes that we're all really comfortable with. And that's kind of the range where I would say that you should expect to see your fuel prices sit the majority of the time. We do have a lot of really great public transportation. Pierce County and Sound Transit offer a lot of different things, from commuter trains to light rails, buses. We do have, through Washington Department of Transportation, we have the ferry system. So there's a lot of different ways to get around. All of those have different costs, of course. If I'm headed up to Seattle to see a Huskies game or a Seahawks game, there's a solid chance I pop on the light rail. It's just a few bucks, take it straight there. The really neat thing is now they're working on that to where you can go from basically down here, down south, all the way up north of Seattle in a straight run, which I'm really excited about. I think it's going to open a lot of opportunities for a bigger mass transit system here in the greater Seattle, Tacoma area. But for now, still going to have to hang onto that car. Probably still need to pay for gas. Sorry, just can't get you out of it yet. For schools, and I don't just mean the University of Washington or Puget Sound University. In fact, the majority of families that we move in here are stay-at-home workers or tech folks who have school-aged kids. One of the questions we get asked a lot are, what are the costs of private schools here in Tacoma? And I gotta tell you, one of the things that I love is we have so many amazing public schools. We have top school systems, especially in our suburbs like University Place or Sumner Bonnie Lake. But we also have 31 private schools that serve the greater Tacoma area. And there are about 6,000 children that go to these schools. Some of these schools are religious, some of these schools are not, but they all have fantastic programs, are very integrated into the community, and can really give your kid an edge. Now, what about the cost? It's probably gonna be insane, right? Actually, not so much. The average cost of a private school per child in Washington is around $13,000. Here in Tacoma, that average cost sits just under 10 grand. So you save about $3,000 a year attending one of these schools versus the average throughout the state. I'll link below some links so you can check out some of these schools, but I'm just gonna mention a couple of them. Like St. John's STEM Academy is pretty much the only and the very first Catholic STEM school around. It was founded back in like 1925. And this goes up through 8th grade, and these guys do everything, like including robotics. I don't know about you, but in 8th grade, I was not building robots. Another one, in one of the more beautiful schools, the Annie Wright Academy, is situated up on the north end of Tacoma. Has fantastic, up through high school, it's integrated, boys and girls, and then obviously as you go up, it separates, but there's fantastic extracurricular activities. This school is highly involved in the community. They have fantastic SAT scores, and the student ratio is pretty wild. It's 6 students to every teacher. So if you're living on the north end and you really want your kid to have some one-on-one opportunities with their teacher, I think it's a no-brainer that this is a school you need to be looking into. Recreational cost and entertainment expenses. With working so much, I only have an opportunity to do like a few things. One of my major hobbies is working out. And the gym here can run you anywhere from $30 to $90 a month. Don't forget also, there's a lot of places that have family plans. So for example, our gym, Fitness Quest, what we train at, that's out of the south end of Tacoma. We can bring our kids in there whenever we want. We pay about $90. It's got a really awesome spread there. And of course, there are gyms all over the place. Tacoma Strength, there's lots of different options. Tacoma Barbell Club. If you're digging the gym, I would just say, $30 to $100 to get your foot in the door at a really nice facility, okay? And obviously there are a lot of outdoor options, archery, there's mountain biking, and all these places have different costs. I would say just research, call around, hit us up if you have a question about those. We'd be more than happy to help you. Now, as far as it goes, concerts can range really broadly as far as what you're gonna pay for a concert. We've paid no more than $20 for a concert up to $250 a ticket. Comedy kind of goes the same way. We do have the Tacoma Comedy Club, and then we have the really big stars that will end up showing up at like Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle. That's kind of the same spread. That can go anywhere from $20 to $400, depending on really where you want to sit and how you enjoy that adventure. Now, as far as eating out, one of me and Chris's favorite things to do is to grab brunch. Brunch is pretty diverse as far as what you can expect to pay to go out and eat brunch. There's a little cute cafe down the street called Angela's. We ate breakfast the other day and it was like $40. But one of my other favorite places is LaSalle Bistro right on Commencement Bay, and that's going to range somewhere between $100 to $200 to have a good brunch. As far as dinners out, kind of the same thing. 2 of you can go out and eat dinner at a decent restaurant for $60 to $80, but if you really want to put it on, it can be upwards of $100 per person. Out here, for sure, if you want to save money, don't drink out. It can be wildly expensive and one way to rack up bills that you probably weren't planning on. All right, so that's kind of the overall breakdown of what it's going to cost you to live in Tacoma, Washington in 2024. Did I forget something? If so, would you just go ahead and drop it down in the comments and I'll be happy to answer that question for you. That way you're super informed. And again, I know this wasn't a super exciting video or super exciting video topic, but I hope you got something out of it. And again, Chris, myself, and our team, we are getting reach outs every day. We absolutely love it. So no matter what format is best for you, whether it's a phone call, text, an email, or setting up a Zoom, all that info is down in the description box below. Just reach out to us. We'd love to help you make that smooth move out here to the wonderful city of Destiny, Tacoma, in 2024. And until next time, I'm Austin of Tacoma, and I cannot wait till you're out here so we can show you around.